This week, we're gonna go over a quick tech video on our oil pan heaters for the 6.7 PowerStroke. Now, these heaters are designed to work with our oil pan kit for the 6.7. We're gonna talk about why you may need it, why you may not need it, when to use it. We're gonna talk about diagnosing if you're having an issue with it, and like kind of the do's and don'ts of it. The whole theory behind the oil pan heater is for extremely cold climates. And when I say extremely cold climates, we're talking about really under 15 degrees. Really, it's under 0. So if you're getting into negative temperatures, this is something that if it's happening all the time in your climate, in your area where you live, this is a good option for you. The whole point behind the oil pan heater is to essentially make sure that that oil doesn't thicken to a point to where it pumps in a thick manner. So you don't want to change the viscosity of the oil with the temperature outside. You'd like it to stay as if though it's in a working range that it's happy with. So most 5W weight oils, which is in 10W weight oils, are usually fine up to 0, 10, 15 degrees depending on the manufacturer. So a couple things that we want to discuss about it is obviously when to option it in, when to use it. The other thing we want to talk about is how it works and its basic functionality. So clearly it's a heater that's going to heat the oil. We all know that. It's not a hard concept. But what we want to talk about today is the way that it actually works and the way that it needs to be used. So when you plug this in, it's not on a thermostat. So for instance, let's talk about it as if though it's like a hot water tank in your house. That element is semi-similar to this, but it's on a thermostat. It's regulated to a set temperature. So when the water hits it, it kicks it off and it tries to maintain that. Similar to a block heater, but in this scenario where we're heating the oil, we don't have it on a thermostat. You can put, say, the circuit that you're plugging the element into. You could put it on a timer so that you wake up in the morning, you're gonna get up at say 7 a.m. You have it kick on at 6 or 5 a.m., just to warm the oil up, make sure it's good so that when you go out and crank it, the oil's not too thick and it pumps fine. As I said though, it's not on a thermostat. So you can't plug this in for 10 hours straight. It's not good, and we're gonna show you why that is not good. If you're plugging a block heater in and leaving it on for a long period, you're heating up a cooling system. So you're heating up the coolant in the engine, which is regulated by what? Radiators. So if you walk past the front of a truck that's plugged in and it's been plugged in for a while, you'll actually feel heat coming off of the rad. And what that's doing is it's actually regulating the system. That element isn't going to over temp because these elements have a temperature limit. If you're leaving it plugged in for a long period of time to where the element can actually get hot, it's going to burn out because it has an operating range. In the oil system, all your oil is laying in the bottom of your pan. It's not being pumped through the engine when the truck's off. So if you plug the element in, you leave it in for a long, long time, being that system is not connected to a radiator or anything like that that's functioning, it has no way to actually dissipate any excessive heat. So let's say it's 30 degrees outside and you're like, all right, I'm gonna come home from work and just plug this thing in right away. Problem is, that oil is going to over temp and the element is going to over temp as well because it's plugged in for so long. So what will end up happening is this element won't be able to dissipate heat, and when it can't dissipate heat, it'll actually burn out. Keeping in mind, only use it in extremely cold temperatures. So if the truck cools off overnight and you got to use it the next day, that's the point when you're going to plug it in. You're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to get ready, you're going to have coffee, whatever, plug it in then. You don't need the oil to be 200 degrees. You need the oil to be 35, 40 degrees, 50 degrees. You don't need it to be hotter than that to function correctly. Well, let's go over some of the stuff not to do with the element. So if you purchase the kit from us and you get the element, please do not plug it in like this and then plug it into the wall. because as we just talked about, if it doesn't have a way to dissipate the heat, it's going to burn the element out. So don't do that. There are a couple things that we want to go over as far as if you have an issue, it'll help you diagnose it. If you think the element's bad or it's not working, the easiest thing to do is to grab a voltmeter. You can grab any kind of voltmeter, put it on ohms. You can put it on like hundreds for ohms, and then just plug it in and literally grab this on each side, and you're going to get an ohm reading. So this ohm reading on this one that we have on the table here is open. So this element's actually burned out. This was a return item that we got back that was plugged in outside of the oil pan. So clearly it's going to break. So make sure you're not doing that. That's a good way to check to see if an element is bad, damaged, or working correctly. You're going to see normally if you connect this and it's a good element. Actually, we'll do that here so I can give you guys a reading on this anyway. We'll hook this up here. And they're actually pretty easy to put on. Just gonna start it in, get the nut started, and it'll pull the connector down the rest of the way. So we'll tighten that down, and then we'll actually ohm this one out, so you can see the other reading. So this would be a good element. So on this element, we're sitting around between 40 and 30 ohms. So as I said, this is just a quick way to check it, make sure it's good. So if you are trying to diagnose an issue or something like that, this is all good things to know how to do. So what I'm going to do now is we'll actually plug this in for you, and we're going to give you guys an idea of what it's doing in the oil pan and what it looks like, and kind of show you how well they actually work. And then it'll also give you an idea of, you know, if this was oil and the volume is anywhere from 13 to say 18 quarts, depending on your combination, you'll see how hot it gets and what it's actually going to do to the oil. So you'll understand how easy it would be to over temp it. So let's go ahead and plug this in. All right, guys, so we've got this all plugged in. We're actually just going to leave it run for a few minutes. I'm going to go grab a temp gun, and then we can shoot the water after we got a little time on this. And we started at about 60 degrees right out of the tap. So you're about 60-degree temperature, room temperature roughly on the water. We'll shoot a temp gun at it, tell you what it's at, tell you the time. So I'm going to go grab the temp gun. There's actually a little bit of steam coming off of the... Yeah, I can only really see, yeah, like if you look this way. All right, guys, we've had this plugged in for about 25 minutes. And now keep in mind, there's only about, call it a gallon of water in here. So this is going to be a lot different if it's oil. There's a lot more quantity of oil, but this at least gives us an idea of the rise, even just in basically 20 minutes. So we started around 60 degrees, and right now we're looking at about 120-ish, about 122 degrees is what we're seeing right now. And like I said, that was over, call it a 20-25 minute period. So gives you an idea, and clearly there's a lot of factors here. You know, you're gonna have the ambient temperature outside, that's gonna change it. The amount of oil or fluid is gonna change it. You know, that's clearly, there's a lot of variables. So the other thing we wanna touch on real quick is routing. So we do have a cord on here that is specifically made to clear our cat oil filter setup. So it gives us the most clearance, helps also making it easier to route it up to the frame rail, and you can obviously clock this accordingly. And then normally if you're in a cold climate, you're already going to have a block heater. So normally what we recommend is running this cord forward with the block heater, following the same path. So you can run this out to the front of the truck. Normally people will leave them hang out so that they're easy to get to. I don't recommend that. I recommend, you know, just keeping it tucked back, tucked away so that it's kind of out of elements. And it keeps it clean and you don't have to worry about having any problems with corrosion. So we're going to show you in the truck here. It'll come out, if you follow the actual block heater cord, you can bring them out in the same area, which makes it pretty convenient. You can actually use a Y splitter if you only say have like one extension cord. If you are doing that, make sure it's at least a 12 gauge extension cord, because you're at that point you're running 2 block heaters that are probably pulling around 10 amps each. So you want to make sure you do that. Now, one of the things I want to cover on this, a lot of people ask, why isn't there a cap? Why don't we have a cap on it? Here's why. I just pulled this down out of the clip on this truck that holds the factory block heater. This is why. See how much moisture is in here? That's what happens. And then what will happen is, not only is that a problem for corrosion, but you'll get your hands all wet, and then you'll go and plug this in and it'll zap your ass. So you don't want that. It usually causes more crap than it actually helps with, so that's why we don't do it. I prefer throwing dielectric grease on the end of these, and then the same thing, just put the block heater where it's supposed to go when you're not using it, which is back in this clip, and then, which I just pulled the clip off and put that back on. But you'll throw it back in the clip up here. And a lot of people aren't going to want to even mess with this. They'll leave it hang out, but that's on you guys if you do that. But you can throw it back in the clip up here like that. And then you can take the other block heater and literally put it up on top of it like that. And then it's tucked up out of the way. It's out of the weather. You're not going to get a bunch of road salt and grime on it. So, but that's a simple thing. And I kind of wanted to cover that because that's a question we get a lot about the caps. If you want to cover it, you can always throw something on it and cover it, but that seems to work the best. So that pretty much covers it for this video. We just wanted to go over the whole reasons behind using it, not using it, if you need it, you don't need it. And as always, if you have questions on these products, please give us a call, shoot us a message. We'd be more than happy to help you, whether it's via phone or email, it doesn't really matter. We're always more than happy to help you guys out with any questions you may have. Like, subscribe. We're going to always keep doing more videos like this. The more support we get, the better. And we will catch you on the next one.